primitive, in it just to win it big. Don't want a little bit, get it when I flip the switch. I like the feeling when I fucking win. I wanna do that shit again and again and again. I have one speed, no brakes, full send. You know it's sink or swim, all the pressure is a friend. I'm attacking, attracting the death, and I'ma make it happen. I'm the captain, I'm steering the shit straight into the madness. Like a canvas, I'm painting the vision, never going back. And I just wanna fucking ball, push until I got it all. I feel the surge of adrenaline. Come on, I feel the blood pumping yet again. I feel the drive, I just wanna win. I feel the calm rain coursing through my fucking skin. I'm locked in, maxed out, no plan B. I push the chips to the middle, that's everything. Risk it all for the person that I wanna be. Won't stop, that's the version that I'm gonna be. I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to be. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact.
Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it.
Hello and welcome to My Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick, and yes, I am running late. I had a very, very busy day today. I had no time to get this show set up, did everything on the fly. Um, it's just is what it is. I'm gonna try to do the show in less than 2 hours. 2 hours. We're gonna try to do that. I gotta wake up early tomorrow morning. I have a physical in the morning. I gotta make sure that I am okay to have surgery. So I have to have a physical done tomorrow, and then I'll do a show for tomorrow, and then I'm going to take the weekend off. And depending on whether World War III starts, I think it's already has started. We're just aligning the pieces, more pieces together. More people, are aligning with who they want to align with, and then the unthinkable is going to happen, where we're going to have a full-fledged war worldwide. And I think that's the moment where humanity is not ready for what they're going to see. It's going to be so much fear in people's hearts that a lot of people are just going to die from heart attacks. That's how scared they're going to get. There's a lot of like futuristic things happening during this war that people are not really talking about. And I've spoken about this so many times. I mean, if you've been here on my channel, you would know how I've been talking about these futuristic weapons and how they have weapons already in space. You think, look, and they even close it up. It has weapons in space. They're up there. Yeah, there's weapons up in space. There's lasers up in space that can take out missiles and take out certain. If they wanted to, they could put this all to rest, but they're gonna let it play out the way it plays out, and the media is gonna do what they're gonna do, and that's okay. But let's get right to it. I got a couple of videos up for us to watch, a total maybe less than 10. So let's get right to it so that way we could get done in 2 hours. Here we go.
Laser beam! Joe beam! Go beam!
Wow. Hey. Oh, Lord.
Don't say Trump didn't warn you. President Trump stood on a world stage
I
just
told you guys
two short
this
months
laser weapon
ago
in
and
space.
said that we
Keep
have
fucking
weapons that you can't even understand
World
right
face
now.
much greater risks than it did ever before because of missiles, because of nuclear, because of weapons of warfare that I can't even talk about. 2 weeks
Weapons
ago,
of
they saw
warfare
weapons
that I
nobody ever
can't
heard of.
even talk
They
about.
weren't able to fire one shot at us. They said, what happened? Everything was discombobulated. About 2 weeks ago, they saw weapons that nobody ever heard of.
Weapons that nobody ever heard of, weapons I can't even talk about. President Trump has often and regularly bragged about his discombobulator, talked about America Tech,
I've been talking about
saying
these
that he has weapons
forever.
that nobody even understands. Not even we understand them. All right. Made us a little curious about alien technology, but it seems like America has busted the can open on laser battlefield applications
I told
in
you
the
guys,
Iran
what's happening, man.
war. Laser weapons deployed in Operation
told
Epic
you guys.
Fury as
I told you, I
Space
told you, I
Force
told you, I told
stops
you.
Iran's missiles in their tracks. A wild exclusive report here
Yeah.
in the New York Post
Care anymore.
sort of buckles in
Point that nobody
and
listens
you know,
anyways.
kind of tells the other side of the story of Trump's sonic weapon, discombobulator. Nobody else has it. And well, nobody else has this, man. Iranian weapon debris blown to pieces. It keeps dropping out of the sky, and nobody knows why. We can thank heat-seeking satellites, military-grade malware, and radar jamming software, all made in America. New technology, laser weaponry, has been deployed against Iran as Operation Epic Fury, the Post has learned. Yikes, that's why Iran looks like this. Just a reminder, when you see footage like this out of Iran, all of Iran was protected by Chinese satellites and Russian anti-aircraft and anti-missile technology. All of it is collapsed. Iran is being used as a proxy right now to show the Chinese and the Russians that they have nothing. And that it's best to just come back into the fold because your tech will be nothing compared to us. This is what Venezuela was as well. U.S. Navy destroyer off the coast of the Middle East, fitted with a new weapon, which appears to be a high-energy laser with integrated optical dazzler and surveillance Helios system. Videos released by U.S. Central Command show.
I told you about this.
This laser is the state-of-the-art device that is with a steerable head, able to concentrate an intense, tightly focused beam of energy and take out drones, according to a keen-eyed military watcher. Look at this. Here it is. This is the Helios laser weapon installed on a U.S. Navy destroyer. Similar videos, the skies over the Israel-Lebanon seemed to show the Iron Beam weapon. We've covered that. Neither the U.S. Navy nor Israeli military has confirmed or denied the existence of laser weapons in Epic Fury, which began on February 28th. However, the Navy said that in the beginning of February that it had taken out 4 drones in a test of Helios. Look at this. This is what it looks like. So we can take out the drones. Look at this. Optical dazzlers used the U.S. Navy to disable incoming threats in the Navy video. Whoa. During the first 72 hours of battle, 1,700 targets were struck by U.S. forces, made it possible to operate, obviously, overhead. This is what an iron beam laser would look like. This technology is crazy because it takes actually, and this is very expensive. You know, every single one of these is like $50,000 to $5 million a shot, right? Doing this is very expensive. Shooting the laser costs like $1. So it's wild and effective to fight with lasers. The satellites have infrared sensors. They find out where rockets are being fired. Says a professor in the Space Force program. And so the satellites are able to cover and shoot out of the sky from space these missiles. They can spot the missiles and pinpoint where the launchers are. The missiles can be intercepted and destroyed. Field forces often get notified of the attack as incoming so they can shelter in the bunkers. I mean, it really is. Iran really is like fighting a straight up Stone Age war here. Let's go ahead and look. This is what the military has released about their laser weapon. There it is. Whoa. Laser weapons are getting their first real workout. The Helios system, destroyer off Iran's coast, is zapping drones out of the sky, being credited with a lot of Iranian missiles and drone debris raining down across the region. Yeah. Helios laser. Integrated optical. Primary for counter unmanned aerial vehicle fast attack craft. Power and scalability. It can target these threats with 150 kilowatts. Functionality acts as an integrated system, high energy destruction, optical dazzling. Deployment installed on the Burke class destroyers. Offers deep magazine, limited only by power generation, and low cost per shot. See? Very cool. Very freaking cool. What do they look like? There it is. So they did the test, right? Yeah. Cool. Ally get Helios directed energy weapon has been deployed against drones in Iran. Whoa. Look at that. Actual destruction of the drone via laser. That is so cool. That is very cool.
Oh boy! I told you guys this show's
in the future, man.
I told you
The United
all
States now shooting down ballistic missiles from space.
It's nothing new for me. It's just confirmation. Every day I'm getting
that the U.S. is already using laser weapons to shoot down Iranian
Everything
drones.
that I
The
saw
future is here,
all coming true.
and we're not going back. That's what all this is. all this is just a
Yeah, what's
flex
garbage?
on the Chinese to say your tech is garbage. Your tech is trash. A flex on the Russians to say your tech means nothing now. U.S. warship Zach's drone with laser. Welcome to the future. There it is. Man. Not expensive. No missiles. No reloads. Just for pure sci-fi power. China ramping up drone activity near Japan. Don't be surprised when you start seeing this. Next gen defense directed energy weapons. This is directly from Lockheed Martin. What do you expect, man? There you go. Airborne laser systems. They've been talking about it. They've been pretty upfront about it for a long time. How Israel killed Ayatollah Khomeini with a missile from space. Living in the future, dude. Glad to be on this side of it, by the way. Tell you what. But like the more that you study all of this, the more you realize all of this is simply a flex to show the Chinese that their military tech is garbage. And the Russians that their military tech is Stone Age. And if they can't defend Iran, that like the whole rest of the world, that Iran is just like out there by themselves, getting blown to pieces, and that no one can defend, like no one's defending them, and you can buy from our enemies, it's not going to work. This is a dollar dominance play. That's all it is. I mean, you don't have to like it, but that's what it is.
Chinese
Which anyway,
is not,
yeah.
Chinese, they listen. They know how to build shit fast, but they don't know how to build stuff durable. That's the big difference. The durability. All right, let me set up the next video. Next video is coming from Liberal Hive Mind.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's the meme of the day brought to you by 5mind.com. You know, the last couple of days we've been talking about Iran's navy, or what's left of it, if anything. We've put all this emphasis on claims coming from Central Command and the Trump administration. They've essentially wiped out Iran's entire navy fleet. But, you know, I guess despite all the reporting we've done on it, I don't think we've truly been able to put it into clear perspective as to just the extent of what's happening here. That is, of course, until today, Donald Trump just released a video depicting an American strike on an Iranian Navy vessel, what appears to be some sort of a carrier. Although, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section. Any experts out there who know exactly what this vessel is, then go ahead and write in the comments. But regardless of what it is, I'll tell you one thing. It's a massive friggin', let's call it ocean skyscraper that just got turned into mincemeat. Again, it appears we're looking at total devastation here. We're looking at the total decimation of all of Iran's little toys, their entire military infrastructure. You know, I've been purposely taking it slow in my coverage. I'm always using words like, we have information that suggests that X, Y, and Z is happening. Well, I got to tell you, after some of the stuff I'm going to show you guys today, it might be time to change the terminology a little bit. Maybe start speaking with a little bit more confidence. My friends, we may be looking at complete and utter devastation unlike we've ever seen before. The possibility of a massive, scary regime that no other president knew what to do with, essentially falling within the week, at least speaking of their military presence on the global stage. Now, whether that equates to, quote, getting the job done, I think that's another conversation entirely. You know, what does that mean? What is our purpose here? Are we getting involved in more regime change, boots on the ground, trying to meddle in their internal affairs? And honestly, I don't know. I mean, as it stands right now, personally, I have no interest in any of that. But in terms of just completely neutering the IRGC, well, on that front, we already might be at the point of mission accomplished. Let me show you the extent of that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so I guess the only way we could start this appropriately is by saying two words, or maybe let's add a third for extra emphasis. Holy frickin' crap. Look at this bombshell military video from Central Command.
This is the I saw this yesterday. Look at that. Gone. It's so gone, like quick. Dude, it didn't even take that long. Like, it was
Absolutely wild footage. That's a
look
submarine
how
torpedo
high.
strike. And I'm hearing some people on social media seem to suggest that
Wow.
that's the first time this kind of attack has been implemented since World War II. And to see it that up close and personal, I mean, the payload that hit that carrier, it must have been something else, a massive freaking explosive. To watch that massive freaking ship, a floating skyscraper, to see it popped out the water like that, its entire rear end doing a freaking ollie like a damn skateboard. Holy moly, it's just not something you see every day. And the story that I've been telling over the last couple of days has been one where it appears as though Iran is falling faster than any nation I've ever seen in this type of conflict. And this, I guess, kind of speaks to that. And further building on that concept, just yesterday I was reporting how their missile launches had essentially plummeted, and I was questioning whether that would be a blip on the radar or possibly a sign of a new trend. And well, looking at this graph right over here, yeah, I really don't know if Iran is going to be able to recover. It seems like a continued negative 50% drop almost every single day. You know, if it truly was just a blip on the radar, you'd expect kind of see an ebb and flow motion, a little bit of a lull, and then right back to business as usual. But no, Iranian military attacks seem to be on the way to zero. Pete Hegseth actually updated us on the situation.
In a few days, in under a week, the two most powerful air forces in the world will have complete control of Iranian skies, uncontested airspace. I hope all the folks watching understand what uncontested airspace and complete control means. It means we will fly all day, all night, day and night, finding, fixing, and finishing the missiles and defense industrial base of the Iranian military, finding and fixing their leaders and their military leaders, looking up and seeing only U.S. and Israeli air power every minute of every day until we decide it's over. And Iran will be able to do nothing about it.
So, you know, all of it kind of, again, feeding into that same theme. It appears as if there's just nothing left of these IRGC and Islamist tyrant goons. And I mean, really nothing left. No missile launching capabilities and that massive void of leadership. You know, speaking to the whole notion of regime change and being in uncharted territory, this being something completely new that we've never seen before. On the issue of regime change, the question seems to be, who's left?
Their leadership is just rapidly going. Everybody that seems to want to be a leader, they end up dead. It's an amazing thing that's taking place before your eyes, because for 47 years we were pushed around and we shouldn't have been. And I think I can say, and you see it as well as I do, you see the tremendous progress that's being made. Their missiles are being wiped out rapidly. Their launchers are being wiped out.
They're getting absolutely brutalized. It's a display of sheer power I don't think we have ever seen before. And again, it speaks to the Trump doctrine. You know, he said something in that clip there. He mentioned how this was a completely different approach after 47 years of warnings and deals and pallets of cash, 47 years of being played for fools. It appears this president has decided to truly take the gloves off. It's a bold new approach, and hopefully the true approach of this new bold strategy is truly not to start a war, but rather to end one before it starts. And while I'm not convinced just yet, I gotta say, the more I'm analyzing the facts, the more I'm following what's happening, the closer to convinced I'm getting. I'm looking at these videos, I'm looking at the analysis, and it's looking like an absolute wipeout. We might actually avoid a major conflict here. It seems on the Iranian side, they're left with no other option other than coordinating with the Trump administration, surrendering, capitulating, basically stepping right into Donald Trump's pocket and doing as he says. I mean, what other option do they have at this point? I think what happened in Venezuela seems to be the pilot program. Delcy Rodriguez, by the way, is fully cooperating. We just got an update there. She's apparently already increasing oil production. The oil's flowing and it's headed straight to America, not to Iran, not to China, not to Russia. He has these rogue nations acting right for the first time in decades. And so sure, you hear a lot of chirping, you hear a lot of criticisms, a lot of naysaying, a lot of doom speaking, and I get that. I mean, I really do. I'm even kind of sympathetic to a lot of those views in a lot of ways. I'll be totally frank, I'd be criticizing President Trump if it wasn't going so damn swimmingly. You know, that's kind of the situation I feel I'm in. You know, I'd love to be part of the war is bad crowd. I usually am. No regime change wars, no endless wars, America first, focus on American priorities first. The last thing we need is more destabilization, more global chaos. But I guess there's just this powerful, force within me that's just saying, don't doubt this president. Give him his shot. I'm sitting back. back, I'm observing, and I'm seeing such extreme projection of strength. I'm seeing our security ambitions being achieved at friggin' breakneck speed. And so, it's kind of hard to play devil's advocate. It's hard to be a doubter. So many people want to focus on the negative. It can't go well. It's going to go wrong. There's some sort of conspiracy at play. But I'm watching what's happening and I'm thinking, holy crap, we might actually be able to pull this thing off without a war, which is literal best case scenario. And again, so much emphasis on the negative. But I'm maintaining that if Trump pulls this off successfully, he will go down as the greatest foreign policy president in modern American history. And I don't think anyone will even come close. Or, of course, the opposite. It all ends in failure. And these are all naive notions and we're simply repeating history. Well, I guess that's the risk. That's the risk this president's willing to take in his second term. President Trump is doing what he believes is right for the American people, right for American interest on the global stage. Meanwhile, other people are focused on the midterms or focused on re-election. It's no holds barred MAGA. It's Trump 2.0. It's basically exactly what you expected in Trump's second term. No holding back, taking decisive action. And now I guess let's see if the risk pays off. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one.
All right. Thank you, the Liberal Hive Mind, for that one. I'm just trying to get something here because there's some stuff coming out. Why it's not showing up here, I really don't know, because it's already... Give me 1 second. I don't know why everything's just is what it is, but I'm going to try to fix it right now because for some reason my computer is not picking up on these videos that I have here. But don't worry, I'm working on it. It's coming up. Give me 1 sec. I hate YouTube. The StreamYard, I'm gonna cancel the subscription tonight. I upgraded to like their highest level, and their highest level is garbage, and it's not getting any better with the audio with it. So I came to a conclusion that I'm just gonna dump the StreamYard as far as paying for the program. I'm just gonna deal with the free shit for a little bit and then try to figure out another way to produce the show. If I do stay with StreamYard, it's gonna be at the lowest tier. I just don't want to give them $90 for something that doesn't fucking work. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to be paying for something that they still have not fixed and they refuse to fix. So best way to fix that problem is not pay them. And then you'll see how fast they'll fix it. All right. Set this up. Here we go with some Jason A.
Are your allies Russia and China helping you?
Well, they are supporting us politically and otherwise.
Are they supporting you militarily?
Well, military cooperation between Iran and Russia is not a secret. You know, we have worked with each other in the past, and that has continued. And will continue. I guess.
And they are actively helping you in this war.
Well, they are. They have always helped us.
So I'm gonna understand that to mean yes, that they are actively assisting you in this war.
Well, I'm not going to give the details of our cooperation with other countries right in the middle of the war.
Yeah.
Our strategic partners
the
will
same
continue
idiot that
to
said
dialogue
that
with these
Ayatollah was still alive.
We'll do our best to, including with other countries of the international community.
Where the fuck is the UN?
United Nations Security Council and the United Nations General Assembly will do everything to create an atmosphere.
UN is garbage.
That will make this operation impossible.
Jets and missiles crisscross the skies over northern Iraq as the war in Iran spreads across the Middle East.
I think the world is undoubtedly moving in that direction. There is a conflagration that's going to take place in the Middle East. Currently, these countries are quite independent of the Soviet Union and Russia. It appears that they'll somehow become part of a coalition that will bring together Russia and Iran and Turkey Turkey is part of NATO. It's we have our NATO bases there, Incirlik, and but they also, Erdogan, the prime minister, has brought the Hamas leaders and celebrated them and said that they're freedom fighters and that Turkey supports Hamas. I was planning a trip to the 7 churches in Turkey and have kind of decided to scratch that. But the precursors for the Battle of Gog and Magog are important.
Do you think this is one of the most important times now? Is this the last best chance to achieve the falling of the Iranian government?
Much of international community agrees this regime must go. That coordination make this moment difference, and it gives us hope. This is an opportunity for change.
Many living in these communities have been waiting for decades to return home. They believe with American support, this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity.
Well, the United States and Israel may have all the sophisticated weaponry and firepower, but it's ironic. But actually, the success or failure of this war could be decided by communities like this one. They're Kurds. They're prepared to cross the border into Iran and join in what they hope will be an uprising against the regime. They didn't ask for this war to happen in the last few weeks or so, but they are prepared to take part.
Would a Kurdish incursion kickstart a nationwide uprising or herald the start of ethnic sectarian chaos in Iran? Like so much in this war, nobody's sure of the endgame.
Okay, we've also got a map here of the conflict, which we're going to bring up now. Talk us through where people should and shouldn't be flying.
Well, a large percentage of the air traffic in the world goes through the Middle East. In fact, at Dubai at midnight is probably a 40-minute holding pattern with a huge number of A380s. So that area is quite small. It looks big, but it's quite small, and there's a huge amount of traffic going through. So Iran and the Gulf states are very close together, very close together. Remember, the airplanes are doing 16 kilometres a minute, so they can cover the area very quickly. So not only Iran, but Israel, which they're shooting at. Turkey had a missile inadvertently drop on it the other day. I suspect that that won't happen again. But the Gulf states, Qatar, etc., all on that Gulf line, are probably getting shot at by the Iranians. The interesting thing is the Iranians are eventually going to run out of missiles, probably, so it'll quieten down.
Richard, just looking here, I mean, Europe. This is the boot of Italy, of course, and then we know that there were rockets heading towards Turkey. We're getting very close to those European holiday destinations. We also know that Australians fly this way through here. We saw those repatriation flights, those relief flights of Aussies coming out of Dubai. The one thing that people were saying is they were most nervous about was getting out of the airspace. The problem now, though, is the airspace is so large. How long could it take before there is that sort of relief?
Now, Jackie Robson is in Tel Aviv. There have been more strikes fired by Iran.
There have, Nat, those suspected Iranian drones that landed in Azerbaijan has infuriated its president, who is now preparing to go on a war footing for potential retaliation. The drone falling on an airport, injuring 2 people, another one falling near a school. But Iran says it wasn't them. There were plenty of explosions across the Middle East today, including in Qatar and Bahrain. And the Israeli media is reporting just how many missiles have been sent since this war began. 200 fired from Iran into Israel, another 300 fired and launched right across the Middle East. The UK is stepping up its weaponry. 4 fighter jets are headed to Qatar. There is also anti-drone helicopters that will arrive in Cyprus tomorrow. But the real focus tonight will be in Lebanon. Israel has urged Beirut to clear out its people to move on so it can strike Hezbollah, and we can expect that firepower to return.
Well, here's the range rings for those. And of course, as you can see, it doesn't even get as far as Italy, and it certainly doesn't get as far as the UK or continental United States. So should we be reassured? Well, I have to tell you, as a military guy, this is what's been declared. But Iran will want to have a missile that can get as far as the continental United States. That needs 10,000 kilometers. Will they have one in development? Yes. Is it operational yet? Almost certainly no. You remember the Americans had their F-117 stealth fighter in existence for 10 years before it was used in the Gulf War, it's almost certain that Iran will be developing some of those capabilities for itself. So although Iran is being dominated by America's military might, America will not lose this war, but Iran just has to avoid losing for it to prevail. The longer this war goes on, the more likely is that Iran will feel emboldened and America will be looking for some form of off-ramp.
The war is spilling beyond the Middle East as strikes continue to wreak havoc across the Gulf. 2 Iranian drones reportedly attacked an airport in Azerbaijan.
Wow.
A US oil tanker was reportedly set alight in the northern Gulf as explosions are reported in Abu Dhabi and also Qatar. Israel has issued an evacuation order for southern Beirut, where the military releases footage of the country's first aerial combat in 40 years, a steel fighter shooting down an Iranian aircraft over Tehran.
And back home, Australia has been told to wake up and join the war with Israel, while 2 Australians are suspected to have been involved in the US torpedo of an Iranian warship in international waters.
We have a team of reporters on the front line around the world and here in Australia. First to Jackie Robson in Tel Aviv, Israel. There have been more strikes fired by Iran, Jackie.
Yes, Nat, and those suspected Iranian drones in
Yeah,
Azerbaijan
audio
have really
horrible.
infuriated the country's president, who is
Yeah,
now
that's good.
preparing to get on a war.
Okay, we might leave Jackie there. We've got some sound issues. We'll see if we can get
Yeah,
back to her.
bitch.
We'll go to Isabel
Finish this
Mullen in
straight.
Canberra. Our very own Prime Minister confirms military assets have been deployed to the region.
Yeah, that's right, Nat and Shervo. Good morning. Anthony Albanese confirming that 2 military aircraft have been sent into the Middle East
There
to
you
help
go.
with repatriation flights if necessary. This as reports emerged this morning that 2 Australian sailors were actually on board that US submarine that sank the Iranian warship off the coast of Sri Lanka. There, we understand, as part of an AUKUS training rotation. The federal government failing to confirm or refusing to confirm whether the US military planes that had flown from Diego Garcia south of Iran into Perth's RAF base on Monday night had actually been tracking that submarine before taking part in that journey. We do have some breaking news for you this morning that Sri Lanka has taken control of a separate Iranian Navy vessel with fears it could become the target of an attack by the US. This as Israel encourages Australia to take a more active part in the war.
So my message to Australia is to wake up. I would expect Australia, with its long history of defending humanity and freedom throughout many wars throughout our history, I would expect them to actually join forces as well.
Yet we're told that when the invasion of Gog and Magog does take place, and it will, that Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish and her villages will protest. Well, we know that Sheba is Saudi Arabia, some of the Gulf states, not including Qatar or Qatar. You see, it's kind of like geopolitical changes, boundaries change, names of countries change over time. And so you got to say, who are we talking about here? You have to do a little bit of study of the history, because when it says that Gog and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, Persia, Cush, Put, Gomer, and Beth Togarmah. Jerusalem is the epicenter of end times prophecy, because Zechariah the prophet said that Christ will come and set his foot on the Mount of Olives at his second coming. In fact, what Zechariah said has such relevance to the world as we see it today, when he says in chapter 12, this is the word of the Lord concerning Israel. I'm going to make Jerusalem a cup that sends all the surrounding peoples reeling. Judah will be besieged as well as Jerusalem. And on that day, when all the nations of the earth are gathered against her, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all the nations, and all who try to move it will injure themselves. How strange that a small, relatively insignificant nation in the middle of a relatively unimportant part of the world could become the epicenter of world events, so much that all the world would be troubling themselves about it. For Jesus to say that 2,000 years ago or Zechariah to say it 2,700 years ago. You say, man, that guy is a great guesser, and he should play the lottery. Because it's just incalculable. Yet, despite repeated efforts by world powers over the last 70 years to resolve the conflict between the surrounding nations that he speaks of, Israel remains the number one flashpoint of international concern, even more than Ukraine. And we find historically, from the time of Truman up to Biden, the Middle East problem not only remains, but it's part of what Jesus foretold. He said the nations would be distress and perplexity in those times.
Thank you, Jason A., for a great upload. We're living in very unique times. I believe something truly bigger than what we're thinking is going to happen. I'm not going to specify what it's on my mind because I don't want the fucking military coming knocking on my fucking door. So with that said, let's set up the next video and let's watch. Which I wouldn't mind them knocking on my door. They just got to take care of me, my two cats, make sure I'm well off, and I can help out mentally, but not physically. But I don't want them knocking on my door. Here we go. It's Benny Johnson, actually, we're going to be watching here. What the hell's going on here?
Let me go! This is ridiculous!
Breaking news, the first beheading of a cabinet member in the second Trump administration has just happened. President Trump was defending Kristi Noem just a few short months ago. Now she is out of a job. President Trump saying
she did a very good job.
She did a good job.
Totally secure. You know, you forget.
The border is totally secure. Yeah. Donald Trump asked, this was at the height of the chaos in Minneapolis, is he going to fire Kristi Noem?
Step down.
No. And he said no. But ladies and gentlemen, things have changed. I want to say that I thought it was really strong of President Trump to not fire people the way that he did in the first administration. Obviously, President Trump bending to the pressure of the corporate media in the first administration, getting rid of a lot of people that really had his back, a lot of people that were very strong and defending him. He was, I think, tricked into getting rid of them. I don't think that's what's happening here. Obviously, that leaves Trump very vulnerable without a lot of allies inside of the White House. I think something else is happening right now, but Donald Trump just announced seconds ago that Kristi Noem is out of a job. Who is replacing Kristi Noem? Markwayne Mullin, our friend and senator from the great state of Oklahoma, who will be leaving the Senate and will be heading over to Homeland Security. Goodness gracious. What a world. Effective March 31st, 2026, the current Secretary, Kristi Noem, who has served us well and has had numerous spectacular results, including on the border, will be moving to Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas, our new security initiative in the Western Hemisphere, as we are announcing on Saturday in Doral, Florida. I thank Kristi for her service at Homeland, serving 10 years in the United States House of Representatives, 3 in the Senate. Markwayne Mullin, again, the senator from Oklahoma, has done a tremendous job representing Oklahoma. I won a lot of the counties, a MAGA warrior, former undefeated professional MMA fighter. Markwayne truly goes along with people. Wisdom and courage required to advance the America First agenda. As the only Native American in the Senate. Okay, so a shot at Elizabeth Warren here. Markwayne is a fantastic advocate for the incredible tribal communities. Markwayne will work tirelessly to keep our border safe. Okay, thank you for your attention to this matter. It's done. President Trump has fired Kristi Noem, replaced him with strong ally of our program, somebody that I know really well. It's a great dude, Markwayne Mullin. Why did this happen? What's going on here? Kristi Noem has infuriated President Trump, according to reports, because Kristi Noem ran a $220 million ad about herself and lied, allegedly. Here we go. President Trump is preparing to fire Kristi Noem. The president's already been asking aides who would be the replacement. We now know. The spokesman for the Homeland Security Secretary said Kristi Noem serves at the pleasure of the president. Well, there you have it. That's all you need. Whenever your spokespeople are saying that, that means you're done. The final straw for Trump was Noem's combative hearing on Tuesday before the Senate Judiciary, where was showed bipartisan frustration with Noem, her decision to allocate $220 million for a campaign ad featuring herself, urging those living in America to self-deport. While I agree with that message, why would you spend $220 million on such a thing? That's insane. That's stupid. That's dumb. I'll just say it. You know, we do videos railing on Disney and woke Hollywood studios for losing hundreds of millions of dollars on stupid movies. Snow White, is a great example. We just covered that. They lost $170 million. So I'm also going to be angry that $220 million was spent filming an ad, Kristi Noem ad. That's so dumb. That's such a stupid use of taxpayer money. Anyway, she went up in front of the Senate and she said that Trump told her to do this. Turns out Trump didn't, according to reports, and that pissed off Trump. So that's what's happening here. At the hearing, Noem told senators the president signed off, but President Trump said he hasn't. Trump frequently changes his mind, so I guess we'll see. And now we've seen, ladies and gentlemen, Trump fires Kristi Noem because of her vanity ad. It's not even a great ad. It's so dumb. Everything is dumb. Everyone is so. It's not even a great ad. But again, we're going to have intellectual consistency and credibility here. We criticize woke Hollywood studios for lighting money on fire on stuff like this, on vanity projects like this, and we're going to criticize, obviously, when it happens inside of our movement. It's you have to. Senator Kennedy, who asked the questions of Kristi Noem, said that Trump said that she lied about this. And that's just obviously a big no-no. It's a big, big problem. Not only did she lie, there are, at the very least, connections to this ad company that got a no-bid contract on this ad campaign and Kristi Noem insiders. I mean, full disclosure, we're done work with a number of cabinet secretaries. Kristi Noem's one of them. Meaning, we go out on trips with them, or they invite us to go do things or whatever. And so, what can you do? Right? I got a personal beef. It's just prima facie wrong, right? To do no bid contracts, then to give them to insiders, for your staff and campaign. And, she was caught in a bit of a trick, here when she was asked about this campaign. And is this a no bid contract? And she said, it was, we did bid it out. You're supposed to do these blind bidding operations here. But then she was faced with the receipts. And it turns out they didn't. And it seemingly went to a brand new firm that was, handpicked companies, a firm that was subbed out to Noem's aide's spouse. So, not great. There you go. You can see it right there. So not a good look, honestly. Senators were pissed. Senators were angry. You can't run like a Doge campaign on cutting government spending when you're doing this kind of stuff. So weird how Kristi Noem's spokesperson runs the consulting firm who received the $220 million no-bid contract to produce her ad campaigns. And it was just started. It was just started 11 days.
Cherry, the strategy group, a consulting firm with long-standing personal and business ties to Noem and her senior aides. The strategy.
So that's not great. What's even worse is that this is a $220 million ad. I mean, I know there's an ad buy, right? You have to go and put it on TV, and that's probably the vast majority of the spend. But this is what you come up with. I don't know, man. It's not great, and it's just not. Doesn't seem like a great use of taxpayer funds. $220 million is a ton of money. Yeah, that's right. Can't even stop the president from getting shot in Butler. All right. Will Kristi Noem go run for Senate now? I don't know. Noem is considering a primary challenge to Senator Mike Rounds in South Dakota. She's from South Dakota. That'd be an exit ramp here since she's being forced out of the cabinet. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But that is the news, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump makes it official here. Kristi Noem replaced by Markwayne Mullin. Badass. I mean, it is what it is, right?
Okay.
We know Markwayne.
It is what it is. Let's keep it moving.
Good evening, I'm Bill Malugin, and this is your Fox News Report. Kristi Noem is out as Secretary of Homeland Security. President Trump firing Noem today and nominating Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin to replace her. Noem faced mounting bipartisan criticism over immigration enforcement and DHS spending. Mullin will still have to be confirmed by the U.S. Senate.
I'm here to enforce the policies that Congress passed, and right now I'm part of it, but once I make that transition, my focus is to keep the homeland secure.
Strikes in Iran continuing nearly a week into Operation Epic Fury. The Pentagon says it has almost total control over Iranian airspace, hitting more than 2,000 targets. But questions remain over who will lead Iran. President Trump reportedly not in favor of the slain Ayatollah's son and saying he should help pick the new leader. Some Americans who are stranded in the Middle East are back home tonight. The State Department saying they've assisted in thousands of evacuations since the start of Epic Fury. Secretary Rubio says his top priority is helping Americans get home. And the House is looking at a new online safety act aimed at expanding parental controls and requiring age verification for apps.
No single policy that can empower parents to fully remove every threat from the internet.
Australia recently banned social media for anybody under 16, and France and Spain are considering similar restrictions. I'm Bill Malugin in Washington. Have a great night.
Interesting. Let's keep it moving.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube.
Okay. Let's bring it back to me. Let me do some resizing here. So I got a couple of videos for us to watch. Just got to get a couple of these videos lined up. And okay, we got that one. Let's see what's over here. Okay. And here we go. Let's watch. Actually, not watch. You gotta put the volume up on it.
President Trump telling Jonathan Karl today he wants to be personally involved in choosing Iran's next supreme leader. The president also telling John many are now calling him the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Here's John Karl.
Tonight, that extraordinary declaration. President Trump telling me that he must be the one to approve the next leader of Iran. We don't want them to put anybody in there unless it is approved by us. The president told me he wants to ensure a future U.S. president doesn't face a hostile Iran. We don't want some president in 10 years to get stuck with this problem and not know what to do with it. In a lengthy phone conversation, Trump sounded triumphant, telling me, quote, "They are calling me the GOAT, greatest of all time." Referring to the war on Iran, Trump asked, "How do you like the performance? I mean, Venezuela is obvious. This might be even better." As for how long the war will last, the president said, "Well, there are many people who say it's already over. It's not over to me. It's over when I want it to be." President Trump is just 15 months into his second term, and he has launched military operations in 8 different countries. That is quite a change, David, from his first term. As he told me today, in my first term, I built the military. In my second term, I am using it.
John
David?
Karl talking with the president today. John, thank you.
All right. Well, let's keep it moving.
In just days of Operation Epic Fury, you and your team have delivered nothing short of devastating, precise strikes, taking out the better part of Iran's navy, making it combat ineffective, neutralizing missile sites and launchers, and establishing total dominance over the skies we fly over and seas we fly over. Our forces are executing with unmatched skill, and the mission is advancing decisively. This is the kind of no-nonsense, results-driven warfighting that America demands. And you're delivering it in spades. You are the man for this moment. Admiral Cooper, on behalf of the President, the Department of War, and every American watching, I want to thank you for the outstanding job you and CENTCOM are doing. Keep pressing the fight, and we are with you all the way. A few thoughts before I hand it over to the Admiral for an update. Iran is hoping that we cannot sustain this, which is a really bad miscalculation for the IRGC in Iran. You see, there's no shortage of American will here. We remember and honor our fallen, those 6 that we will soon welcome at Dover, who gave everything for their country in this mission. We remember them. But we remember them by rededicating ourselves even more fervently to this mission. Our commitment to our mission objectives only increases as our advantages continue to increase. We've got no shortage of munitions. Our stockpiles of defensive and offensive weapons allow us to sustain this campaign as long as we need to. Again, our munition status only increases as our advantage increases. Our capabilities, we have only just begun to fight and fight decisively. Having a chance to hear from Admiral Cooper. If you think you've seen something, just wait. The amount of combat power that's still flowing, that's still coming, that we'll be able to project over Iran is a multiples of what it currently is right now when you add up our capabilities and those of the Israeli Defense Forces. And we have no shortage of authorities. The Admiral knows we have clear objectives with maximum authorities on the battlefield. The dumb, politically correct wars of the past were the opposite of what we're doing here. They had vague objectives with restrictive, minimalist rules of engagement. No more. Our authorities, his authorities, CENTCOM's authorities through the president and myself are maxed out. Our capabilities are overwhelming and gathering still, as are those of our Israeli partners. Our munitions are full up, and our will is ironclad, which means our timeline is ours and ours alone to control. As long as it takes to ensure the United States of America achieves these objectives. And as we flow more forces, and as we flow more capabilities, and as our munitions, as we're flying over the top, have even more devastating effects, we set the tempo, we set the timeline, led by the commander on the ground. Our ear is to the ground to listen to Admiral Cooper, what he needs, and what he needs he will get. We are built for this fight, and we are in it to win it. And we have the right commander in the lead.
That's great. Just keep it moving.
Bro, come. Bro. Do lunch. My God.
கட் பண்ணு டி
Bro, there one more. Which side it is coming from? Bro, harbor it is landing. Harbor. It is in water, no problem. So. My God. Bro, fire. That's an arm.
About to get attacked also? What was wrong with the audio?
Going different direction.
And I guess Bahrain. So it's like an explosion in rock Bahrain as missiles hit oil refinery. So Iran doesn't give a fuck about their neighbors. They want, if they're gonna go down, they want all of them to go down because they're gonna take them all with them. That's what they want. That's exactly what they want. Big time craziness, that's for damn sure. From the New York Post to bring back to me. Let's do a couple of resizings here. Hope everyone or one. I know it's Albie. I hope you're having a good night, Albie. So far, I'm still hurting. I'm not feeling good, but we're doing good with time. So let's go ahead and watch this next one.
Donald Trump has unleashed war on Iran on a mission to wipe out its leaders, destroy its ballistic missiles, degrade its military, and put an end to its nuclear program once and for all. Since the first wave of American and Israeli bombs fell on February the 28th, thousands of strikes have been carried out on these targets. But how many of those strikes were successful? How much damage did they cause? And what does that tell us about who is winning this war? Satellite imagery is perhaps the best way to judge, and already images of key Iranian sites have revealed much about the successes and failures of the early days of this conflict. We're going in depth to analyze this imagery and tell you what it means on this episode of Photo Evidence. One of the first targets of Operation Epic Fury, the American bombing campaign, and Operation Roaring Lion, the Israeli campaign, was Iran's leadership. This is the presidential compound in Tehran, the residence of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. The 86-year-old lived here with several members of his family, we presume in these buildings at the northeastern end of the compound. Next door is a mosque where Khamenei held prayers, and beside that, the offices of Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian. At the southwestern corner were the offices of the Supreme Leader, where Khamenei held weekly meetings with his senior officials and sometimes welcomed foreign dignitaries. One of those meetings was due to take place on the morning of February the 28th, around 9:40 a.m. Israeli intelligence, which had hacked street cameras around the palace, confirmed the arrival of several high-ranking figures. And a CIA human source on the ground confirmed the meeting was about to begin. Israel then deployed fighter jets to launch long-range air-to-ground missiles out the compound. This was the result. In this satellite image, the first taken of the compound following a Saturday morning strike, you can see damage to two distinct areas, here and here. One of those blasts, likely the one at the northeastern end on the family buildings, is thought to have killed Khamenei, along with at least 4 of his relatives. Iranian state media said his daughter, granddaughter, daughter-in-law, and son-in-law died alongside him. The second blast, presumably the one on the offices at the southwestern end, killed a number of senior Iranian officials who were due to meet Khamenei. They included the Commander-in-Chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the Minister of Defense, the head of the Military Council, the Commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Aerospace Force, and the Deputy Intelligence Minister. The pattern of damage suggests high-precision munitions were used in the strike rather than wide-area bombardment. Damage is concentrated only in the areas targeted, with minimal damage visible to surrounding structures. Israel has several long-range air-to-ground missiles, 3 of which seem ideally suited to the strike. One is the Rampage, a supersonic missile designed for precision strikes against high-value fixed targets of a time-sensitive nature. Another is Rox. This has advanced homing features and so is designed to be used in areas where GPS jamming is active and is capable of blowing up highly protected targets like underground bunkers. Then there's Israel's Blue Sparrow, a medium-range ballistic missile capable of striking targets as small as a pool table from more than 1,000 kilometers away. In total, it is thought 30 missiles were used in this operation. Next up is Iran's nuclear sites. Destroying these and thus preventing Iran from ever developing a nuclear weapon was one of the main reasons Trump gave for launching the war. This is Natanz in central Iran, home to a major uranium enrichment plant. This is what turns low-grade uranium of the kind used for nuclear fuel into weapons grade, used for bombs. Here's an image of the site taken on March 1st. Above ground, we can see a number of support buildings, which are thought to contain things like air conditioners and ventilation for the underground portion of the site. This building here, at the bottom of the image, is a dummy structure, designed to hide the pedestrian and road entrances into the underground portion of the site. As you can see here, this dummy structure has already been hit in a strike. Below ground is where Iran is thought to store the centrifuges, which are essential to making highly enriched uranium, one step away from weapons grade. This site was heavily bombed by the US and Israel during the 12-day war last year, during which much of this equipment was likely damaged or destroyed. Since then, Iran had repaired the site, though it is unlikely it had returned to full operation. However, that didn't stop the US and Israel from hitting it again. This image, taken on March the 2nd, shows the buildings covering the vehicle and pedestrian entrances have been flattened. But why would America and Israel strike an out-of-use nuclear site? 2 reasons. First, they may have reason to believe that it was in the process of being repaired, and so hit it again to put out of use, potentially for good. But second, they could have been striking simply to bury the site, along with any highly enriched uranium stored there. One of the biggest fears of the current war is surely that the Iranian regime, facing being wiped out, will try and quickly turn whatever uranium it has into a bomb, and then launch it at whatever target it thinks it can hit, very likely Israel. Before the 12-day war, Iran was thought to have a breakout time of just a week. That is, the time it would take to go from highly enriched uranium to weapons grade. That almost certainly got longer after the 12-day war, but may well have remained short enough to worry the US and Israel this time around. Burying the highly enriched uranium and the centrifuges needed to turn it into weapons grade is therefore a key objective, even if neither of them can be fully destroyed. Also on the American and Israeli target list were Iranian missile bases. One such base is located in Tabriz, in northwestern Iran. This is the base before the attack. Here you can see roadways leading into reinforced concrete entranceways, tunnels into the mountainside. Beneath these mountains are thought to be a network of tunnels that Iran uses to hide some of its medium-range ballistic missiles, which are capable of reaching Israel. 2 such missiles stored at this site are thought to be the Ghada and Imad. With a maximum range of between 1,000 and 1,200 miles, they can carry warheads weighing from 1,600 to 1,900 pounds. It isn't clear how many of these weapons are stored at the site, but Iran is thought to possess thousands of them. In the event of an Iranian attack on Israel, transporter-erector launchers, basically mobile missile platforms, would drive out these tunnels and park on the roadway. From there, they would be able to launch their missiles at Israel before driving back underground again. This is the same site on March the 1st, after being hit by strikes during the opening days of the war. Immediately, differences are apparent around the mouths of the tunnels. When we zoom in here, the structural outlines appear altered with access points showing signs of collapse. Military analysts say that targeting tunnel entrances is a strategic way to temporarily degrade launch capability without needing to penetrate deeply buried storage chambers. Further along the access road network, several crater marks are visible. We can assume that these are consistent with precision air-delivered strikes, either by air-to-ground missiles fired from attack jets or ship-launched cruise missiles. The IDF also released a video reportedly showing aircraft at Tabriz airport being struck. Israeli defense sources have claimed the F-4 and F-5 fighter jets were destroyed on the ground. The Tabriz missile base was also targeted in June 2025 by Israeli airstrikes. The third prong of Israel and America's strike campaign was to degrade or destroy the Iranian military. Its navy was among the first casualties. This is Konarak, a key naval base on the south coast of Iran near the Gulf of Oman. It is located close to the Strait of Hormuz, a key shipping lane through which a fifth of the world's oil passes. The base also plays host to some of Iran's largest warships, the Muj-class frigate, a domestically produced design, and Bayonder-class corvette, which were given to Iran by the US before the regime came to power. Both of these classes carry anti-ship missiles, which could have been used to attack American warships in the Arabian Sea, or commercial tankers trying to transit through the strait, with the aim of shutting down international oil supplies. This satellite image reveals extensive damage to those warships following strikes on February the 28th. You can see plumes of smoke billowing from the complex. Zoomed-in imagery shows that smoke is coming from a warship which seems to have taken a direct hit. Additional imagery once the smoke has dissipated reveals the full extent of the damage. The vessel on fire has since been identified as the Iris Jamaran, a Muj-class frigate, seen here on the far left of the image. To the right of that vessel are 2 further warships, one which appears mostly submerged, and another partially submerged, having listed on her side. These have been identified as Iris Bayandor and Iris Nagdi, Iran's last 2 Bayandor-class corvettes. They served for decades as one of Iran's primary small warships tasked with patrol, escort, and coastal defense, before being struck and partially sunk in this attack. Further to the right, in an empty area of the dock, ocean analysts believe 2 Henderson-class patrol boats were likely struck and sunk while moored. These craft are small, but have been used by Iran in the past to harass ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Additional damage is visible on the harbour side, as 2 large warehouse-type buildings have been blown to pieces. This is a major blow to Iran's naval patrol, coastal defense, and surface strike capabilities. Images also show strikes on a nearby airbase. Hardened concrete shelters were penetrated by precision-guided munitions, leaving 4 large holes in the tops of each. These types of shelter are typically used to protect aircraft from overhead strikes. Scorch marks in front of each shelter, visible here, indicate they failed at their jobs. Such marks could have been caused by burning oil or fuel, indicating the shelters were in use when they were struck. More damage is visible in an area located between the 2 innermost aircraft shelters, possibly indicating an attack on vehicles or supplies used to maintain the jets. Meanwhile, this image shows yet more strikes on the airbase at Konarak, this time at what is believed to be a drone facility. Again, you can see a large warehouse-type building has been flattened, likely through a combination of the missile used to strike it and ordnance stored inside. There's also damage to a number of surrounding structures, though it is not clear exactly what these were used for. Bandar Abbas, another naval base located near the Strait of Hormuz, has also been hit by missile strikes. This base served as the premier maritime gateway for Iran and the primary operational hub for both the Iranian Navy and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy. 2 primary areas of damage can be seen, centered around this vessel moored in the outer part of the port, and around this dock in the inner part of the port. Heavy black smoke is billowing from both, indicating burning fuel or oil. This vessel is believed to be the INS Makran, a former oil tanker converted for military use, which appears to be heavily damaged. Makran was intended as a floating command center, capable of deploying helicopters, divers, and speedboats, and perhaps even mounting missile systems on her large, open-topped deck. At over 200 meters in length, it used to be the largest military vessel in Iran's naval service. According to a covert shores report just days before the strikes took place, the inner part of the harbour was occupied by a number of warships, midget submarines, and a full-size submarine in dry dock. The area covered by smoke in the most recent image was playing host to 2 frigates, a spy ship, and the dry dock submarine. It is hard to tell their fates because of the smoke, though it appears at least one of the frigates and potentially the full-size submarine have been hit and possibly destroyed. While much of the campaign focused on Iran's military and nuclear infrastructure, not all of the strikes were precise. In the south of Iran, US forces hit a girls' school in the city of Manab, killing at least 165 people, including children. The school, Shajara Tayyabe Girls' School, sits adjacent to a naval base belonging to the IRGC, which had previously been targeted. Historical satellite imagery helps contextualize the location. In Google Maps imagery from 2013, the school appears to have been part of the IRGC complex. By 2016, the building had been walled off and separated from the military base, functioning as a civilian school. Based on the objectives Trump set at the start of the war, removal of the regime, ending of the nuclear program, destruction of the missiles, and degradation of the military, we can see the campaign has so far been a tactical success. All these key objectives have been hit and hit successfully. Much of Iran's leadership is dead, its nuclear sites are unusable, its missiles have been degraded, and its navy is a smoking ruin. But tactical success is not the same as strategic victory. The IRGC is still fighting, and the regime continues to function. Trump seems to have gambled on the Iranian people rising up and overthrowing the government to bring this war to an end. The problem with that theory of victory is that it takes control of the process out of his hands. As much as he might want to force people out onto the streets, ultimately that's up to them. And we've seen no signs on satellite or otherwise of that happening yet. Even if they do seize control, there's no guarantee that they will put into power someone that Trump and Netanyahu are willing to accept. More to the point, the IRGC and other protest factions may not accept them either, meaning the war will continue and perhaps even deepen, spiraling into sectarian violence. So, for all their tactical success, and we've seen plenty of evidence of that, strategic victory may be out of Trump and Netanyahu's hands.
All right. It's this moving over here. Let's pause this and let's keep it moving.
So there have been quite a few observers that have said that these actions that we see from this administration internationally and certainly domestically really have all been aimed and with one single purpose, to go after China. Now, interestingly enough, China seems like they've been caught completely flat-footed. Think about Panama, think about Venezuela, and now Iran, right? China seems to be stuck in the mud, or dare I say, even intimidated. Now, my next guest has been spot on with her coverage of this conflict. I'm going to bring in research fellow for Hudson Institute Center for Peace and Security in the Middle East, Zineb Ribra. And Zineb, you know, I only recently discovered your work. It is absolutely fantastic. On Saturday, you wrote that about the Iranian question, that it is all about China. So explain that for the audience.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and I'm really glad that my work has been useful. The easiest way to start is to say that Iran was China's discount oil lifeline. China purchased Iranian crude at steep discount, making Iran really a critical subsidy for Chinese industrial output. And I think that's very, very important when you're talking about a Chinese complex industrial base that benefited from these type of discounts. Right. So I think that Operation Epic Fury is absolutely destroying that, in the sense that whether the operation succeeds or not, the next Iran will just not give those type of discounts.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I'm sorry. No, I was going to also just bring up the point, the China pivot chart. We're going to bring up the chart with China pivot, and because, so this relationship, China gets this cheap oil, and I guess Iran expected, you know, a tough China, right? Because before you mentioned China, the China shields Iran. You go back to 2006, 2010, 2021. All the way up into 2024, you know, they at least say, hey, we've got your back. But since Operation Epic Fury, they've been nowhere to be seen. And again, what does it tell you about China's ability or appetite for greater conflict?
Well, I think that they are scrambling right now. They are trying to be as diplomatic as possible, but because it's the only avenue. Exactly. I mean, this is why they are doing all of these diplomatic statements. They even are trying to hide behind the United Nations. You know, there are 300 Chinese citizens that were evacuated from the region, one Chinese citizen killed. And what do they have for this operation? It's a press conference. And it just tells you that they are absolutely stuck. Because if they go against the strikes and they denounce the United States and they denounce all of this, well, they have a lot of their Gulf allies. They rely on their energy as well. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, right, and others. They will not be seen quite well. Right. And if they back the Iranians, I think they will see how they're not going to save the regime. The operation already hitting, I think, 2,000 targets so far. The security apparatus of Iran is completely destroyed. So they have really no good response to this. And if I can add one thing, you know, China really saw Iran as absolutely crucial to evade sanctions. A lot of people talk. I spoke about the oil, but sanctions are very, very important. Xi Jinping, when he saw Putin invading Ukraine and all the sanctions, the Western sanctions coming at him, one of the things that Xi Jinping did was to use Iran as a way to shield him from the Western economy. All these front companies in Hong Kong and elsewhere, well, a lot of that will collapse.
We've got a minute to go. Xi and China and Trump get together next month. This morning, China gave their lowest GDP target in 3 decades, which I find to be amazing. It seems like Xi is going into this meeting vulnerable. How do you think it works out?
Well, I think that this time, absolutely, as you said, Xi Jinping is vulnerable. The Belt and Road Initiative has Iran as an important component of it. All the bullying that they've been doing against Japan is just not working. Indonesia is looking at China as an unreliable partner, as well as other countries. So I do think that Trump will be very, very much empowered in the next negotiations and the next meetings.
Zineb, great work. Keep it up. Really, it is absolutely fantastic. You're writing, and I appreciate you coming on the show to share your ideas with us.
Okay, I'm working here behind the scenes because I do have a add-on. So let's bring it right back to me. And let me just fix this and set it all up for us. This is one that I like. And when I see him pop on, I always feature him on my show. So I would like everyone to always be informed of what's going on in this world. This world, it changes every day. And don't believe, and I'm looking at the media as you are, and I'm telling you, don't believe everything that you're seeing. Okay? Remember, seeing is believing, and don't see things that they're projecting to you. Use your energy to find out what's really going on. Because the media is going to paint you a picture, and they're going to make you feel a certain way. That's why the left is so sensitive that they go crazy and they start acting wild. And it's because they're very sensitive with, especially with information. You know, they're the left has been known to be very sensitive and very trigger happy, if you know what I mean. But we're going to go ahead and then we're going to set up the last 3. We got 4 left here. After this one, there'll be 3 left. So set it up. Jason A.
Our entire class is on game theory, right?
This is the paper
This is
psychic.
kind of weird because what this suggests is that religion is more important. Okay? So what's the point of game theory if people don't play by game theory? If they're just religious fanatics. All right? And the answer is this. And the answer is it's still game theory. But the problem is that what you think, the game that you think they're playing is not the game they're playing. The reward that you think they want is not the reward that they want, okay?
This is the paper
We
psychic.
think in terms of material things.
The 15-minute paper
So
psychic.
money, resources, power. We think that the war is being fought over these things. And it's not. All right? The grand secret, the grand reveal of the semester, of this course is this. The real power, the real currency in the world is not money.
Nope, it's the metals.
It is human consciousness.
Nope. Precious metals, human
Or basically
consciousness is you could get them through Wi-Fi. The human consciousness.
Okay? This is it, guys, okay? When you understand this idea, you understand everything.
Where they bombard everybody
But this is
with
hard,
all
I
this
didn't understand, so
information.
I'll need some
Humanity's
time
not
to
used
actually
to being
explain
fed
this.
too much
All right?
information all at once.
This war is being fought to control the consciousness of the human race. Because it is our consciousness that creates reality itself. That's the source of all wealth and all power in this world. Okay? That's why this is happening. In other words, this is a war not just for Iran. This is a war not just for the Middle East. It is a war for the soul of humanity. This is what's happening, guys. All right? This is what World War III is. World War III is meant to be the last and final war of all human history. Because whoever wins this war will control the very soul of human existence for all of eternity. Okay? That is the end game. And I know this is hard, I didn't understand, but as we go along, I will explain this to you. Okay? That is the grand secret behind the
Why are
world.
we so afraid
Everything that you
of
believe, everything that you see today, it's all an illusion.
I mean,
The reality, the
the
truth,
United States, they try to
is
say that
that
the United States is going to
consciousness
control
is
the
the
world.
source of all power of reality itself. And so this is a war for human consciousness. It's a war for the very soul of humanity.
This is a religious war. Who wins it at the end of the day? Do the radical Islamic terrorists who want to kill all the Jews because God told them to? Who want to kill me because I'm an infidel? Who want to purify Islam, to reject moderation and make everybody a jihadist? This is a big deal. I'll deal with Section 230. So what we're facing right now is a moment of decision that will set the course of the future of the Mideast for 1,000 years.
Yeah, but then you
This
got
is day
fucking
6 of this
Dawn
conflict,
Madani
and we've seen
running New York
yet
City.
another country in this region
Well,
drawn
and
into
other
this
mayors
war.
running. Yeah, wow.
The screams of young children can be heard as one of 2 Iranian drones slams into the ground near a school. A second hitting this airport terminal. Azerbaijan's president has vowed to crush Iran with an iron fist after he says 4 drones were fired into his country. Iran has denied any connection to the attacks, instead blaming Israel.
Iran is exporting the war, trying to expand it to as many countries as they can to sow chaos.
In Tehran, an ever-intensifying onslaught from above rocked the city for a 6th straight day, where more than 1,000 people are now said to be dead. In parts of Beirut, concrete carnage where neighborhoods once stood. Traffic jams now line the streets with panicked civilians after the Israeli military ordered the evacuation of hundreds of thousands from the southern suburbs of Lebanon's capital city.
Antidrone, antimissilistica.
This all comes as confirmation from Rome today that Italy is sending air defense systems to the Gulf. Spain also announcing it's sending its Christopher Columbus frigate to Cyprus to join a French aircraft carrier and Greek naval ships. Great Britain now has 4 fighter jets en route to Qatar. With each passing day, more NATO members are being drawn in.
You guys,
it's affecting us. It's affecting the entire globe. This is a global conflict.
Before I die.
CTV News is currently stationed near the Incirlik Air Force Base in the southern Turkish city of Adana, along the eastern Mediterranean, where Turkish and U.S. NATO air forces have been stationed for decades. Just yesterday, off the coast of the NATO base, an Iranian ballistic missile was shot out of the sky by NATO forces as it entered Turkish airspace. While Iran has denied targeting Turkey, one former NATO commander says he has little doubt about the aim of that Iranian missile.
They're going after that airbase by design. Ballistic missiles are aimed. They know what the flight path is. These Shahed drones are aimed. They know what the flight paths are. This does not happen by mistake.
And make no mistake, this is now a conflict forcing the hand of several NATO nations across the globe. The multiple drone strikes in Azerbaijan makes this the 12th country to accuse Iran of firing deadly warheads in their direction since this war began.
NATO has now increased its alliance-wide ballistic missile defense posture as member state Turkey is still reeling from its brush with the offensive activity in this region. Turkish President Erdogan is warning Iran after the country apparently fired yesterday a ballistic missile that flew over Iraq and Syria and was intercepted as it entered Turkey's airspace, knocked down by a U.S. ship in the eastern Mediterranean, possibly headed towards the huge U.S. base at Incirlik in southeastern Turkey. Iran today, in fact, denied it had shot the missile. That didn't stop Erdogan from calling it a very sensitive act, warning that it should never happen again, and amidst it all, trying to explain the friendship Turkey still shares for neighbor Iran. As for NATO's response, Director General Rutte, while expressing concern about the attack, does not think it qualified as a triggering of the NATO Article 5 clause. That's the rule that an attack on one NATO member is an attack on all and should be followed up with a response. Folks here have enough problems right now. Still, U.S. allies are on high alert.
New images do show the destruction across the Middle East as the U.S., Israel, and Iran exchange airstrikes for a 6th day.
Iran's retaliatory strikes have so far hit 12 countries through the Trump administration is confident the U.S. has the upper hand. ABC's Christian Cordero joining us live from Washington with the very latest right now. Christian.
Colleen, Philip, good morning to you both. So the Pentagon says that the U.S. efforts are, quote, just getting started as the back and forth of airstrikes now start to show their toll on civilians across the Middle East.
Today, the surge of U.S. forces across the Middle East has led to a scramble for the thousands of American tourists trying to get out. For the first time since Saturday's initial strikes in Iran, the State Department sending a chartered flight from the Middle East to the U.S., as commercial flights have been hard to secure.
Honestly, at this point, I'm really starting to lose hope that we'll be home soon.
In Washington, Trump administration officials vowed to strike deeper into Iran, Video circulating online shows smoke rising from a sports stadium. Iran's government says it was hit by a U.S.-Israeli airstrike. As well as on land, the U.S. has also targeted Iran's Navy vessels offshore. So far, the Pentagon says it has destroyed at least 20 Iranian Navy vessels, including this warship sunk by a torpedo, killing all but 32 of the 180 sailors on board.
For 47 years, we were pushed around, and we shouldn't have been. And I think I can say, and you see it as well as I do, you see the tremendous progress that's being made.
Iran's foreign minister today called the destruction of that ship an atrocity at sea, posting online, quote, "Mark my words, the U.S. will come to bitterly regret precedent it has set."
They initiated this war, the same they did in June. So Iranians have no other choice other than continuing to resist, to defend their territory.
And today, 5 days after that strike that killed Iran's supreme leader, a member of Iran's government told an Iranian news agency it is in the final stages of selecting its next leader.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. Good luck with that shit. Let's keep it moving.
More bizarre video for you. This one raising the question, what is going on with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer? Now, I mentioned last night how Starmer was kowtowing to British Muslims. No, I'm not going to join this attack on Muslim Iran. He wouldn't even let the US use a joint base at Diego Garcia. Now going viral is this video of Starmer being stroked and nuzzled by whatever it is that he's doing by Palestine's so-called ambassador to Britain. This loving stroking and then a hand on the Prime Minister's shoulder as if the Palestinians owned him, owned the man who recognised their non-existent state. I mean, how embarrassing. Joining me from London is our regular commentator, Talk TV host, Samara Gill. Samara, great to see you. Can you explain that video to me? You tell me any other Prime Minister who'd let themselves be fondled and patted and murmured to, like I said before, like a lover.
It's insane. And the timing is even more horrible. I mean, this is while we're on the precipice of World War III, it seems, over here at least. And Starmer is literally cozying up to someone who celebrated October the 7th. He doesn't condemn Hamas. I interviewed that so-called ambassador one time. He couldn't tell me that Hamas was a terrorist organization. He spent a lot of time spreading fake news in the United Kingdom while that Israel-Gaza war was going on. He is not a good guy, and it shows how weak Keir Starmer is, that he was able to be strong-armed by an ambassador from a country that doesn't even exist. I mean, this is the situation we're in at the moment in the United Kingdom. Starmer just kind of stands there smiling. I wouldn't see the likes of Thatcher doing that during wartime when we've got so much going on geopolitically. I don't even know why he attended this iftar. It's so silly.
Well, it was interesting. You mentioned weak. Yesterday, Donald Trump blasted Keir Starmer as no Winston Churchill. Today, the Telegraph over there reports that he's privately called Starmer a loser. I've never seen a president with such open contempt for a British leader. How serious is this breach?
Tell you what, Keir Starmer brings it on himself. I mean, I think you do have to mess with Trump for Trump to come out like that. And I think he's once again hit the nail on the head with Starmer. I mean, to think that Britain went from being led by the likes of, Margaret Thatcher, William Wallace, Churchill, as Trump mentioned, to this sort of spineless prime minister who blows in the wind. I mean, it's quite obvious here. It's hard to explain almost, but he's pandering to the Muslim vote, and it's really geopolitically getting very testy at the moment. We've just had this election over here where the Greens were able to pick up a seat, and that was all because they went on a pro-Gaza ticket. So I'm genuinely thinking that that's now informing our international policy, and Keir Starmer is not siding with Australia, Mark Carney's Canada. No, he's choosing to side with the sort of Palestinian ambassador and also saying, let's go to the table and let's talk to Iran. Sorry, Iran is not someone who wants to get to the table. They want to bomb every Western country. They want death to the West. So this really weak leadership is proving extremely dangerous and trying for the position that the UK is in. And I think right now it's way too little too late. We are too late to the negotiations here. And it's a very trying position.
All right. So you've got that political crisis, as it were, a crisis of confidence, of leadership. You've got Britain going backwards. You've got the country divided. You've got a navy so weak that it left Crete, which has got a British air base there, so undefended from drone attack and a ship weeks from arriving. But yet you saw its politicians now dancing with the stars, doing the cha-cha with TV star Angela Rippon. I mean, how has this footage gone down?
I mean, talk about arranging deck chairs on the Titanic. I mean, that's kind of what it looks like at this point. It's deplorable. I mean, they've just received a 5% pay rise. You've got people in there that genuinely couldn't care less about the United Kingdom. And it's not the time to be dancing. I mean, you couldn't write this stuff. It's like some sort of horrible SNL skit where they're trying to make fun of what Western democracy has become. And it is not the time to be looking weak. It is the time to be looking strong. And it pains me that this is the state of the nation that I'm living in right now.
God, I'm not going to forgive my producer for playing that footage twice. That's just too much. Samara Gill, thank you so much indeed for your time. Really appreciate that.
Okay, let's keep it moving. More liberal hive mind.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's the meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. Well, folks, it's one of those situations, we got the Democrats essentially red-handed in Minnesota. And now the question is simple. Explain yourself. You better have a good friggin' explanation. And yeah, you could probably guess where I'm going with this. Tim Walz and Keith Ellison just testified in front of Congress, and it appears they have no valid explanation. The Democrats are always going on and on about looking and acting guilty, right? Ooh, based on Donald Trump's response to the Epstein files, I can tell he's acting guilty. That's got to mean something, right? Well, you want to know what acting guilty really looks like? It's not Trump's response and reaction to the Epstein files. It's frickin' this. We got Keith Ellison and Tim Walz looking like deers caught in the headlight, and you could just tell they are lying through their frickin' teeth. All of a sudden, Tim Walz goes from the governor, who's got everything under control, who's the top dog and overseeing everything in Minnesota, to, I don't know. Oh, I have no idea. I can't recall. I'm the governor of the state? My own staffer came to me? Oh, that's news to me. You cannot make this stuff up. These guys look guilty, 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 and their explanations make absolutely no frickin' sense whatsoever. Let me show you guys this thorough grilling of these two frickin' corrupt career criminal clowns. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so let's start off with Tim Walz here. I mean, he is getting grilled.
Why didn't you tell the truth about why you restarted the payments?
Well, Chairman, we did tell you. And Feeding Our Future grew because of the pandemic. And
I didn't ask that question. I said, why didn't you tell the truth about why you restarted the payments? The payments stopped because there were concerns, obviously. It wouldn't stop the payments. Then they're restarted a month later. What was the reason for restarting the payments?
My understanding was the agency believed that the court had required them to make those payments.
Here's what the judge says. Governor Tim Walz told the media that the Minnesota Department of Education attempted to end payments to FOF because of possible fraud, but that Judge Guthman ordered payments to continue in April 2021.
Congressman, the attorneys at the Department of Education interpreted that differently.
Do you think it's racist or Islamophobic to highlight and try to stop fraud?
It is not, and I certainly
It's not, but that was the message your administration was sending to multiple whistleblowers.
I can't speak to that.
You can't speak to that. You don't want to speak to that, I think.
Was your office notified of these fraud allegations?
Not me specifically, that they're handled internally in the administration. It happens every day.
We have it under sworn testimony in the Oversight Committee that your former chief of staff was notified directly by these various commissioners about the fraud in Minnesota.
That could be correct.
So are you saying that your chief of staff didn't notify you?
I'm saying I don't recall.
Peggy Flanagan is there
Yeah.
are accusations
He
that
was
she
gonna
was
be our vice
intimidating
president.
whistleblers. There was a meeting on April
was
12th
gonna be our
of
vice
2024, where she went on stage and publicly denounced whistleblowers in the state of Minnesota, calling
survived.
them losers in
I
their
want my
mother's
fucking
basement.
money for
Is this
surviving.
the type of
Who are you?
treatment that your administration allows to
Biden
whistleblowers in Minnesota?
I'm not
Who would've had
familiar
this
Are
with
you
that.
aware of
shit as
any
vice president?
intimidation of whistleblowers in the state of Minnesota?
It's
There
not.
are 30 whistleblowers who have given letters to this committee on the record saying that they have witnessed, they have been subject to intimidation by your administration because they were trying to stop the fraud in Minnesota.
I encourage them to go to the OLA and the independent sources in Minnesota that are
The
open to
OLA,
that.
you're the governor. Why don't you take responsibility for what's going on in your state?
We do take responsibility. None of those people, I'm telling you, I have no
But
knowledge.
you
of
lost
them.
billions of dollars of American taxpayer money in the process, Governor Walz.
In your written testimony, you listed multiple actions you have taken to curb fraud, yet clearly they were insufficient. As Minnesota ended up with 14 Medicaid programs deemed high risk, representing over $18 billion in spending. The buck didn't stop when whistleblowers were silenced years ago. It only stopped when you realized the fraudsters were drawing attention from people that you couldn't intimidate into silence.
There's one quote from the interactions with Tim Walz that I saw that I think really hits the sentiment. Someone has to be lying. Someone is not telling the truth. Nothing makes sense. As Byron Donalds put it, there were 30 whistleblowers under Tim Walz, 30 people raising red flags, going straight to his office, speaking to people who work directly next to him. And when confronted on that fact, his response is, I don't recall. You don't recall people coming to your office and saying, hey, Mr. Governor, autism claims went from 1 million in fiscal year 2019-2020 to over 300 million by 2024. And that was just kind of like a little blip. Oh, maybe I vaguely remember that, but I kind of just instantly ignored it. I mean, it's obvious what's going on here. He's pretending to be the most incompetent man on planet Earth so that he can get away with it. And what's sad is that it's likely going to work. You know, we're talking career levels of incompetence here, overseeing this kind of fraud, claiming it was all accidental. Oh, just a whoopsies. We didn't catch it. Well, that's pretty much career ending. And Tim Walz appears to be taking that path. He's calling it quits, not running for re-election, and just assuming the role of major dumbass as a defense. And well, obviously, I mean, I'm not going to make a absolute declarative statement, but clearly the other option is more likely. It's more likely that he knew and did nothing for some sort of ulterior motive than it is that he just didn't know, he didn't understand, he didn't catch it. Oh, he just forgot. And that's really the core of what I gathered from these interactions. Their explanations, their defenses are utterly manipulative and dishonest. And speaking of that, we got Keith Ellison, who continues his act of defiance, pretending as if it's all political persecution.
Do you know Salim Saeed?
That name is not familiar to me.
Ikram Mohammed?
No.
Abshir Omar?
No.
In 2021, you met with a group of Somalis, business people. Those three people were there. Safari Restaurant, Partners in Quality Care, also known as Parties in Nutrition, some of their named partners, and Feeding Our Future representatives, including Abshir Omar, who said they were having difficulties because they were being investigated, and that conduct is very racist, xenophobic, and Islamophobic. Do you remember that meeting?
Yes, I do. And I'll tell you that these are people who were fraudsters. They lied to me. They lied to the judge.
Yep.
They lied to state agencies. And that's why we contributed to them being convicted.
The body language is wild. You could tell that he's doing it on purpose. He's not being forthcoming. He's sitting there with that stone face, pretending as if, you know, he's above it all. All the accusations are ridiculous. They're partisan in nature. They're racist, which was the initial defense that he used in defense of these Somali fraudsters. But again, notice how he doesn't get to the crux of the issue. He claims that he doesn't know any of these people that donated to his campaign, that he's literally been recorded. There's an audio recording of him coordinating with these fraudsters to come up with a strategy to protect them, essentially to get the heat off of them. But he addresses none of it. No, he claims he knows nothing of it, and it's all just political persecution. You know, the left spent months dismissing these issues of fraud in Minnesota. In fact, they're still doing it.
Mr. Chairman, it's outrageous that this is what we're choosing to spend our time on the Oversight Committee. At the first one,
Fraud.
At the first one, yes, fraud, because let's talk about fraud.
They want to dismiss these claims as if there's no merit to them, as if it's a waste of time. Once again, it's a vast right-wing conspiracy to attack the Democrats. That appears to be the defense. That's definitely the Keith Ellison defense. But if I'm taking one thing away from
They
their
don't like
body language,
accountability.
from the interactions here, from the facts that we understand as they currently stand, well, I think it's pretty much obvious to anyone with 2 working brain cells that they essentially did the thing. These pathetic denials, I don't think, are convincing anyone. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
All right. We'll see you on the next one. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see what else we got going on here in Connecticut. Let's check this out.
Now to the latest on the conflict in Iran. President Trump says he plans to be involved in picking Iran's next leader. He said the son of the late supreme leader is an unacceptable choice, but the president did not offer an alternative. According to the State Department, the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait closed following retaliatory strikes by Iran, and stranded passengers are starting to leave the Middle East as governments rally charter flights and airlines schedule new services.
The world is focused on gas price because of the immediate impact of the war on gas price. But there are several other fronts where the problem is brewing and people are not paying enough attention to that.
Experts are warning that major supply chain issues could come as the war in Iran rages on, raising prices for you and your family.
And your reporter Owen Kingsley is live outside the Stop and Shop in Meriden to explain what impacts are on the horizon. Owen.
Well, this could be another influence on the prices at your local grocery store. Now, one expert I spoke with says that there's a 3-week mark from when war erupted in Iran that could be the tipping point. Alexa Ramirez is loading up on groceries for her family of 3. She's a new mom with a baby daughter at home.
These are from Walmart.
She has her own system to maximize her budget by going to multiple stores.
This is my 3rd one, so.
No kidding. Why is that?
Because you have to shop where the prices are right, and you know that's not always under one roof.
Since
That's
war broke
true.
out in
He's
Iran,
right.
the Strait of
I do the
Hormuz
same thing,
is
girl.
essentially shut
I
down.
go to Walmart,
That's where
I go to
1/3 of the
Target, I
world's
go to Stop and
fertilizer
Shop.
comes from, and we are at the start of the growing season.
So if we do not get
I
those
even go to Dollar
nitrogen
Tree.
fertilizers on time, that would also
bet.
affect our agricultural sector.
Likely hitting you in the wallet at the grocery store.
It's always a concern. It's a big concern.
Bill Paquin lives on a fixed income. He's got a cart full of groceries that he hopes will last him a couple weeks. Now he's thinking about what his next trip to the store might cost him.
It's just going to get worse now.
When these supply chain interruptions happen, most products have about a 2 to 3 weeks worth
He got
of
his 2
supply
seconds of
in
fame.
storage before running into supply issues at local stores. After that, prices typically shoot up. For these oil-producing countries in the
but we
Middle
don't get
East,
much from
they
that
fill
way.
their storage tanks in about
What
3
comes
weeks
from
too,
over there that
which means
we're
they'll stop producing oil
absorbing
if they can't
from?
export it.
When there is a halt in
It's
oil
gonna
production
mess
that has a
up like
psychological impact,
Iran.
price will skyrocket.
It's gonna
and
mess
also
up
we
like
will run
India.
out of
They're gonna
other
mess up
inventories that we currently have.
like maybe
So
UK.
that is why I'm
'cause
worried that
UK
if the
gets
war
some good
goes
shit.
beyond 3 weeks,
But the
With the
United
additional
States,
cost of having just had a baby, Alexa
like,
can't
this
fathom the
doesn't
idea
make
of
any
groceries
sense. Why
getting
the
more
chaos?
expensive.
Worried
Why
that
are they
all of
just
this is happening
projecting?
now that I decided to have a daughter.
Being scared. This
Now,
makes
earlier this
zero
week,
sense.
President Trump said that Operation Epic
I
Fury
know
was
exactly
ahead
where
of
this
schedule,
motherfucker's at.
originally projecting that the conflict would last
should have gone
4
over there
to
and
5
did an
weeks.
interview.
Your reporter live in Meriden, I'm Owen Kingsley, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
I go, listen,
All right,
I know
Owen,
how
thank
the,
you. Also,
I know exactly where that motherfucker's at. I tell him like this: send all the fucking illegals back. Send them all back, and you'll see there's extra food for us at the grocery store with reasonable prices. And that way there'll be more places to rent. So you'll have more choices. You see what I mean? As an American, that's your benefit, to have choices and where you want to live. But since the illegals are here, they taking up all the motherfucking space. So there is no choices. There's waiting lists. That's what's here. It's waiting lists. They're waiting for the person to die to be able to put somebody else in here. That's where they're at. It's crazy, man. The system is fucking crazy. But the fear, why project fear? Groceries are still gonna. They think we get our groceries overseas. Our groceries are nearby. We get our groceries from here. We don't get groceries from India or anything like that. So why the fear of groceries? You see what I mean? The fear projecting shit. Like these Democrats, that's what they do. They live off of fear. It's like why be in that mode all the time? You're gonna burn these people out. Like, I don't project that. I never project fear like that. I just tell you if something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. If I feel something happening, I just let you know. That's it. But I'm not here to project fear on anybody. That's not my place. Fear is a very strong energy. It's very scary energy. It's a very tough, strong energy. Fear is a bitch. Because then it's like it's really like confirming. You're confirming within that fear. But let's see what else we got here. We do have an add-on, so we're gonna watch this one. Let's set this up. Let's watch.
President Trump weighing in on the future leadership of Iran. Dozens of top leaders have been killed in the ongoing strikes, raising the question of who will fill the void in the Islamic Republic. Joining us now is Moj Madera, an Iranian-American advocate. Moj, thank you for being here. So please do weigh in on the president's comments there. He said he had some ideas for the future of Iran as far as leadership, but most of them have wound up dead.
Well, thanks for having me. And I think the first and most important thing is anything less than regime change is a failure for the American people and a failure to the Iranian people. And I think we're in a situation where liberation and self-interest have actually combined and joined here. There is something good here that's possible for the Iranian people and good for America. And there is no world where we can leave this regime intact. And there has to be a push, and the narrative in our country needs to transition to transitional leadership. We need to push for a democracy inside Iran. We need to support a transitional leadership with Reza Pahlavi. And Iran is so much bigger than one person. There is an entire generation of people willing to lead themselves, and anything less than regime change and democracy is an absolute failure for both Democrats and Republicans. We have to push everyone to not just dismantle military targets, but we have to actually do the most important thing is push for democracy within Iran. That is what the Iranian people died for in the streets last month and months before and over the past 47 years. And this can't continue to go on. We cannot continue to have them governing on any level at all, regardless of how armed they are or are not.
Moj, do you have anyone specific in mind that could lead Iran?
Well, as of right now, the best leader for Iran is Reza Pahlavi. He is the most equipped, he is the most prepared, and he is the most wanted and desired by the Iranian people, most importantly. There is a large coalition of people inside Iran that support him, and I believe that tent will grow, but it's non-negotiable. There is no world in where anyone who's been associated to this regime can stay in power. They all have blood on their hands, and most importantly, they are anti-American, anti-West. They are dangerous to our way of life, and this can't continue to go on. Beyond just military resources here, we're talking about a country that's rich with oil and gas, uranium. These resources right now are currently exploited by China, by Russia, and this will continue to go on. There's no way for us to police that without allowing the Iranian people to govern their own resources. They do not want to live under an Islamic Republic, and it's imperative now. This not be about striking military locations. We have to push for regime change, which means we support getting rid of these areas of surveillance so that the Iranian people can come out. It means that we start to actively support the Iranian people to defect from the IRGC. We need to set up portals and communications so that they know they can safely do that. And so in this moment, it's negligent on every level to talk about anything but regime change.
Moj, I just want to play out Pahlavi's sound. He was on 60 Minutes on Sunday and said this about Iranians prepared to fight. Listen.
Whether there was an intervention or not, I want to make sure your audience understand that we were prepared to fight the fight. There was too much blood between us and this regime. We were committed to fight regardless of outside intervention. They're thanking President Trump from actually
now he's faking it. He's walking back.
So you heard him go on to thank Trump. Although President Trump, when asked about him potentially leading Iran, expressed some concern. I don't know how you would label it, that whether or not the people of Iran would support him. What are you hearing?
My expectation of President Trump is to think about what's America first, and my expectation of Reza Pahlavi is to think about what's Iran first. And what's Iran first is supporting him as a transitional leader. Most importantly, again, millions of people went out in the streets. This is
It has to be a leader
unfathomable
for
to
the
American
people, you know what I
here.
mean?
35,000 people were shot dead January 8th and 9th in the cold blood.
It's
Protesting
like
for
the
peace.
gang took
Iranian people are
over
courageous. We are brave.
Iran and
Most
fucked it all the way
importantly,
to
we
the
are
ground.
prepared to fight. You
And
will see millions
now
of
they have a
people come out in the
chance to
streets
go
the
back to
moment
their
they
glory
realize
days.
that the American government is going to
And
support
Trump is
regime
giving
change
them
by giving them
like
low
the
air
opportunity
coverage, by
to
making
try
sure
to do that.
surveillance is disabled, that they will not be
But
murdered.
there's so
They
much
will
he's
to
gonna do.
overtake their government, and they want
The
the
Iranian
satisfaction
people
and
need to
justice of
liberate
doing this in the
and
end
free themselves
themselves.
from the
But there's no
tyranny.
world in where we can continue to just talk about taking out military leaders. The IRGC and the regime must be terminated for good, forever, not just because
Yeah.
of their military threat, but because of their ideological threat to the American way of living our lives.
Moj,
Or
really
a threat
appreciate
to
you.
us.
Really appreciate you joining our coverage today. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox
Okay.
News.
Ah, fuck. I pressed this damn fuck shit. I don't want this fuck shit. All right, let's go on to the next video, which is the last video of the night. And we reserved that for Tyson de la Cruz. Here we go.
Well, that's black mold. I personally visited this tiny house to verify her claims.
Not only that, it's filthy. It's disgusting.
America, you just saw black mold growing on the window of a tiny house that Seattle's new mayor tried to pass off as compassionate housing. But here's what should make you absolutely furious. Katie Wilson bragged about placing this woman during her State of the City address, while this same woman is still living in a tent surrounded by drug paraphernalia.
I've never had such a strong sense that we're at the beginning of something great. A growing sense that maybe, yes, we can do big things.
Meanwhile, the woman she used as a quote-unquote poster child for success.
Why did you use me as an example? And that's not an example. The city does that all the time. Whenever there's a tiny home available, they give it to one of us.
That's Crystal Rawlings, 5 months sober. And she's calling out the mayor for using her as a political theater stunt while offering her a health hazard. What is up, guys? Tyson de la Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Before we dive into this, I want to give a huge shout out to Jonathan Cho for being the boots on the ground in Seattle, documenting what the politicians actually don't want you to see. This, my friends, is the kind of journalism that actually matters. Now, let me show you how Seattle's new quote-unquote compassionate mayor is running the most expensive game of whack-a-mole in American history and lying about the results. Let's start with the encampment that made Katie Wilson a hero in her own mind. Ballard, specifically the Burke-Gilman Trail area, Wilson delayed a scheduled sweep, claiming that she wanted time to help people transition into housing rather than them just being displaced.
That pause allowed us to basically help them make that transition without the disruption of a sweep.
She gave outreach workers an extra month, and the result, guys, hit the drum roll. 6 people out of the entire encampment. That's how many people she saved out of an encampment that had way more than 6 residents.
It's been really hard out here. So I know people on the pathway saying really ugly things to us like every day.
Meet China and her boyfriend Dre. They were part of the Ballard encampment. And guess what? You wouldn't believe this. They're still homeless because the city offered Dre a spot in a men's shelter, which would mean abandoning his girlfriend and their dog.
They told us they were going to give us housing after the mayor came, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared. Nobody really got housing except for one person out of the entire camp.
Watch the bait and switch here. This is worse than a 90s car salesman. First, they promise you housing. Then when the mayor leaves, it becomes shelter beds, which means communal living, no pets, no couples. They got to get separated. So people say no. And the city, obviously, they act shocked that their generous offer got rejected. Now, here's the beautiful part. After spending weeks and weeks clearing up a camp on 41st Street and lining the area with boulders and eco blocks to prevent people from returning, guess what happened?
A growing encampment in Ballard has popped up just after another was removed nearby. It appears the camp that was removed by the city last month near the Burke-Gilman Trail has seemingly relocated 2 blocks away on 43rd Street.
They moved 2 blocks and a new camp is actually bigger than the old camp. 41st Street and 43rd Street. That is $127 million budget deficit worth of progress right there, my guys.
There, I talked with a woman who was 5 months sober and had 3 small dogs. We were able to identify a spot for her in a tiny house village.
Crystal Rawlings, 5 months sober, 3 dogs. Wilson makes it sound like she personally saved this woman's life, except there is one tiny problem. Well, actually, several mold-covered problems.
I just thought that something big in the works was bigger than a tiny home.
It's run by the Low Income Housing Institute, one of the many nonprofits contracted by the city for homeless services.
I'm not going to have them breathing in that mold.
The housing the city offered her, Unit 71 in the Interbay Village, run by the Low Income Housing Institute. One of those nonprofit Seattle contracts worth millions. And when Jonathan Cho went to verify Crystal's claims about the conditions,
I personally visited this tiny house to verify her claims.
Not only that, it's filthy. It's disgusting.
While I was unable to get inside the
Can't clean
unit,
it?
I did see what appeared to be mold spores growing on the window frame.
black mold growing on the window frame in a unit the city thought was acceptable to offer a woman who's been 5 months sober and trying to rebuild her life.
Rawlings says the city and Lehigh did not offer her any alternatives.
You want her to watch the whole process.
Yes, because if she would have done that, then she would know what's working and what's not working for us.
So needless to say, Crystal is still in a tent surrounded by needles and despair. But my friends, Katie Wilson got to take her victory lap on stage, talking about the overwhelming success of her new approach. You know what's really overwhelming, you guys? The audacity of using
She prefers to sleep in the tent. It's cleaner.
as evidence of
It's like
your
camping.
success. Here's how
You can sleep
Seattle's
good.
system
I slept
actually
good in a
works.
tent.
They announce a suite.
I went camping
Outreach
before.
workers show up. They offer shelter beds that require giving up pets,
make sure I'm
partners, or
comfortable.
privacy. Most people refuse, obviously, for other reasons as well. Then the city moves everyone just far enough that it looks like they actually did something.
Where are you headed next, sir?
What do you mean? There's nowhere to go. They just push us around. What do you mean?
It's kind of like when you were a kid
Yeah.
and your family told you to eat the vegetables and you ate everything else and you just kind of moved the vegetables around on the plate. Just me? They just push us around. That is the whole strategy because Wilson made it clear. No more aggressive sweeps, just gentle nudging from
But
block
the
to
little tiny
block while
homes are fucking
taxpayers
full of
fund the
mold.
world's slowest game of musical tents.
Did anyone here take shelter being offered?
No.
So where are you going to head now?
Probably a couple blocks down the street.
0 people accepted shelter. 0
Wow.
people. And their plan? Move a couple blocks down the street, which is exactly what happened on Ballard. 41st Street gets cleared. 43rd Street becomes the new hotspot.
And this is the game of whack-a-mole. People simply now go across the street and
Hey.
set up shop.
Whack-a-mole, except this version costs
got-
Seattle
that's their
taxpayers
home, you
millions
know?
and millions of dollars, destroys local business, and accomplishes absolutely nothing except for letting Mayor Wilson pretend she's being compassionate. While Wilson's busy congratulating herself for moving tents between blocks and blocks, let me show you who's
The people's
actually
home.
paying the price.
What does that mean when you said 100% lack of support from the city?
Well, they just haven't helped us. Customers are scared. They've told me they are literally scared to walk down the street and come to my business.
Edward Bunker owns this restaurant on West Lake Park. Construction on one side, open air drug use and homeless on the other. And he's temporarily closing because customers are literally afraid to walk to his business.
As far as what I would like to see from the mayor is I would like to see some crime prevention. I'd like to see some cleaning up of the streets, making people feel safe again.
Crime prevention, cleaning up the streets,
Wow.
making people feel safe. Basic government function, you guys. And Wilson's response to business owners like this one?
the Office of Economic Development's Small Business Expediting Program is working to help cut red tape for small businesses across the city. And we are offering more support for small businesses to address property damage and security issues through the Back to Business Fund.
Word salad with extra croutons. Small Business Expediting Program. Back to Business Fund. Zero specifics. Zero accountability. Just basic bureaucracy jargon while restaurant owners lose their livelihood because the city won't remove drug dealers from the sidewalk. Now let's talk about the question Wilson refuses to answer. How are you paying for any of this?
My administration will also be introducing legislation to City Council to fund shelter expansion and make it faster and easier to build shelter in our city.
Wilson wants to build 1,000 new shelter units, expand housing operations, reduce childcare costs, public grocery stores, all of these grandiose plans. And when somebody asks her the obvious question,
what programs would you be willing to cut if it does come to that?
We have a large budget deficit. We are going to have to make some hard choices and really decide where our priorities lie. And I mean, just honestly, with thousands of people on our street every night, this has to be at the top.
She won't say. Seattle's facing a $127 million budget deficit. Wilson promises no tax increases, but she won't name a single program that she's going to actually cut. Because in Wilson's world of word salad, money appears when you call something compassionate.
One contentious issue that the mayor brought up is Seattle's network of crime-fighting cameras, which some fear could be used for unintended purposes like immigration enforcement. Well, the mayor says she's going to need more time to weigh all the arguments for and against.
She won't even commit to keeping crime cameras running because some people fear they would be misused. So businesses are getting robbed, residents are getting assaulted, and Wilson still's weighing in on the argument that whether catching criminals on camera is worth the risk. America, Katie Wilson just gave us an absolute masterclass in progressive failures. She delayed an encampment sweep to help people transition. 6 out of dozens accepting housing. The rest moved 2 blocks away to set up a bigger camp. She used a 5-month sober woman with 3 dogs as a success story, except that woman rejected moldy health hazard city housing. No alternatives offered, no apology given, just pure propaganda juice. Businesses are closing because customers don't want to walk past drug dealers to get dinner. Wilson's solution, create another small business program with 0 details and 0 funding while promising no tax increases during a $127 million deficit. Here's what Seattle is learning the hard way. Compassion without accountability isn't compassion. It's chaos with a marketing budget. You can't help people by offering them mold-infested shacks and then calling it a success. You can't fix homelessness by moving camps just a block away. And you can't run a city on vague promises and word salads with extra croutons while businesses collapse and residents flee. For Katie Wilson, perception beats reality every single time. And Seattle taxpayers are the ones paying for this performance. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
For a great upload for the show. He'll come back as soon as I reach 1,000 subscribers. And that's something that I told them. So we're still working on those fucking 2 subscribers to get to 550. So Pokemon, we're gonna have to do something tonight to get people to watch and subscribe. What should I open? I have so much Pokemon, right? But I'm like, I don't want to open it. That's the fucked up part. When you buy it and it looks nice, it's like, now you don't want to open it. And I got 3 of the Elite Trainer box of the Ascended Heroes. I picked up 2 yesterday. And I have now a total of 3. The first release, I got that 1 box. And I don't feel like I want to open it up. Like, I want to keep it there. But I probably open the Destin Rivals because I really like Destin Rivals. So I have a booster box right here. Let me grab it. So I have this booster box. Maybe I'll open up the booster box. So it'll be entertaining. And it'll last me for 6 videos, so it'll be for 6 nights. Because I do only 1 pack a night, 1 pack of video. That's it. I'm not rich, but I'm not gonna. Some people I see them when they're opening shit, they're opening like all their shit in one video, and it's like, okay, it was cool and all, but you open all that shit on just one video, which you could have spread that out. And like, if I ever open up the Charizard, that would take me 18 days because it has 18 packs. I'm not opening up all those packs in one show or trying to like open up everything at once. No, I only get 3 minutes on that, and I like to take my time and let people look at the card and go, but I'm going at a good pace. So I try to keep it with the additional videos that I put at the end, and I hope people like those little additional videos. I put a lot of work into that. AI did, but it's my creativity, and I think I'm gonna continue with the Dust Rivals. I got the box here, so I'll do the opening. I'll open it up. I think I'm gonna need a blade to open this, but we'll get it open, and then I'll open up a pack, and then I'll have it going for the next 5 days. Do a video, and then hopefully we'll get something good. I would like to know if we get something good on this. Like you want to see a close up on it? Destin Rivals, Pokemon. See, it's a booster box. It's a booster bundle. I found out it's in the Heroes. I believe is getting a booster bundle, and Perfect Order that's coming up is getting a booster bundle. Did I get a booster bundle for Perfect Order? Nope. I didn't get a booster bundle. But I did get 2 EBT, 2 EBTs, listen to me. 2 ETBs and a booster box that has 36 packs. So like for the month of I want to open that. Like I don't know if I want to open it or not. Because I want to see how the fever goes on it. If it gets wild and people are like, "Oh my god, I gotta have it," like then it tells me, okay, let me hold on to it and let me not open it yet. But Perfect Order comes at the end of the month, and I get my boxes and stuff. I get them on the 27th. So I was thinking if I should open because I wanted the 2 EBTs. Listen to me, ETBs. EBT. He wants 2 EBTs. What's up? he wants the government money. He wants all that money. Like, especially if it's from the immigrants, they get thousands. I heard like I had a friend. She works at Walmart. She told me, she's like, I saw like the total. It was so shocked. I was in shock. I can't even do groceries like that. I was like, girl, only in America. Like she works at Walmart, and she's like, she tells me all the time, she's like, shit's fucking crazy. Like how like the government and how these people just get all this food. They just see them with so much food. Like they get like all the meats, get all everything, like all the bacon. When you go there to Walmart, there's never any bacon. You're like, what the fuck, man? These motherfuckers took all the fucking bacon. It's just it's a problem that I hope it gets fixed. It needs to get fixed. It takes time, It's like if you're not disabled and you're able body, then you need to get your ass to work and support yourself. You know what I mean? The people that are disabled. They went through the mission. They went to the courts, and won, like I did. I won my case, and I took the state to the courts because like I was fucked up. I was disabled. 'Cause I broke my neck and my spine is fucked up, and I lose feeling on my legs and my arms. I lose feeling. So it sucks. And then I have other parts of my spine that's fucked up, like my lower back, and my mid back's kind of like jacked up a little bit. But I have like the pains in my shoulder. My neck is always like I have metal in my neck, so it's hard. But this weather doesn't help. My knee hurts. My knee hurts. My back. And that was it. The song, my neck, my back, my neck, and my back, and plus my knee. Yeah, because my knee be hurting too. This weather, because it's been raining. It's raining hard, and we're supposed to get a few inches of rain tonight. And it wasn't snow. Thank God it wasn't snow, because if it was snow, we definitely would have gotten like about a foot or two with this storm, because it's dumping a lot of rain. And it sounds so nice though. Like you hear the water like trickling down through, because I have a drain from the roof that goes through the wall downwards, and you hear it as it's going down. So it's like its own little natural waterfall, and it sounds so relaxing. It is so relaxing. Oh man. But this energy is pretty strong here, and my body's just doesn't feel right. The rain really hurts me. I'm not a fan of spring. I'm not a fan of spring. It's one of my worst like season of the year is spring. I could deal with fall. Winter, I could deal with it. Summer, I'm okay with summer. I mean, fall, it all depends, because the cold weather and it like comes and goes. It doesn't like stay cold. That bothers me. But once it gets cold and it's already stays cold, then I kind of get like used to it, and then like I'm okay. Like I'm in pain, but not like crazy pain. It's just the weather plays a big factor, because we're all water anyways. But the weather does play a factor with us, and right now that water hitting the AC unit, you can hear it. It's making me really drowsy, and that's a good thing, because I gotta wake up early in the morning. I have a very early doctor's appointment. I got my physical I gotta do. I gotta do my blood work and all that stuff, which is pretty quick. I should be hopefully out within like 30 minutes. And that's why I like the earlier appointments. You get it done fast. And then yeah, we'll see what the day brings. I got my physical therapist actually at 9:30. So I got physical therapy tomorrow. That's not gonna be fun. I already know. Because just my knees just been really acting up. So I gotta make sure when I see my doctor to make sure she sends that referral to my physical therapist, so that way they'll have it. And then before I go there at 9:30. So, and then make sure the appointments are all set up, with the surgeon and all that good stuff. And then we'll try to see if when I get the surgery done and what we're gonna do, because I'm on that last tread, and that knee is really very weak. It pops out with pain out of nowhere, and it's so punishing. It's not even fun at all. All right, guys, I'm enough ratting. I'm not gonna rat at the end of the show like I just did. Oh well. But I am gonna open this up next, which is I gotta do the video for today. So stay tuned for that. And that goes under my YouTube shorts. You don't need to do anything else. No subscription for that. It's on my channel. It's on the shorts, on the daily rips, on the daily openings that I do. And I've been sticking to every day ever since I started in December. So I'm going to try to do it for like the whole year. That's a mission. It is a mission. But I'm going to try to open up, every day this year. And hopefully we'll get to 1,000 subscribers through Pokemon. I have a feeling Pokemon is the one. Now, I got six packs in here. And I need to play a little game to pick which pack would I pick for tonight's opening. There's 6. So it's 1 through 6. I already got my number. I already got my number. Let's see. If I was going to pick a number, I pick number 3. I'll open up the 3rd pack. There's another 5 more. So we got to pick a number for the next opening. Because I'm going to open up 1 now and then 1 for tomorrow. So whoever's here still in the room, I see there's 2 people. You got 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Those are the ones that are available to pick. I am gonna open up pack number 3 on tonight's opening. Hope one of you guys could participate and say a number. You got 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. Those are the ones that are available. And if you don't act now, I'll pick for us. You may not like it, but I gave you the opportunity to pick. But and remember, this is recorded, so everyone is gonna see you. Everyone's gonna see you. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'm tired. I gotta wake up early. It was a great show. It was really, really good. And be back on here hopefully tomorrow with the non-paying membership one because I ain't gonna pay for it. This system sucks. After I finish the show and after I upload some scenes, I'm gonna discontinue the service from StreamYard because their audio sucks. The audio sucks. Sometimes the video quality is not great. I rewatched my show before and it was all choppy. It was all messed up. And that came through the StreamYard because I see myself perfect. And then when it's on YouTube, I seen it. I was like, what the fuck? Like the video's all like robotic and shit. I'm like, nah. That's on you, StreamYard. That's not on me. Anyhow, have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll catch you on the flip side. I'll be back on here tomorrow. And we'll do this all over again. All right, guys. Have a good night. Peace.